Paris, August 28, 2025. France finds itself at a decisive political moment. With just 11 days remaining before a confidence vote in the National Assembly, Prime Minister François Bayrou is urging the country to believe that change is still possible. His government, under pressure from economic realities and political rivals, faces a test that could either solidify its mandate or bring it crashing down. Bayrou appeared before the press in Paris today, his words carefully measured but charged with urgency. His arrival was brief, his departure swift, but in those moments he sought to send a message to both the French people and the political establishment. This is a fight for truth, for responsibility, and for the future of France. Speaking directly, Bayrou insisted that the nation is beginning to hear his call. He said he is convinced that citizens now recognise the risks that must be taken to tackle France's mounting debt. For the first time, he argued, the truth is being told. For the first time, risks are being embraced in order to meet a challenge that has long been postponed. It was a statement both of honesty and of defiance, setting the stage for the difficult days ahead. The Prime Minister did not shy away from emphasising the stakes. In his own words, he declared that everything can change in the next 11 days, provided the country commits itself fully, fears nothing, and accepts the weight of responsibility. It was not just a political appeal, but a moral one, an invitation for lawmakers and citizens alike to see the coming vote not as a routine procedure, but as a moment that will define the path of France's governance. Bayrou also took the opportunity to defend himself against recent criticism. Many had questioned why he had not held more consultations during the month of August. His answer was pointed. In France, August is a month of holidays, not only for the public, but for ministers, organisational leaders and government officials. It was, he argued, entirely normal and therefore unrealistic to expect detailed political negotiations during that time. Far from being a sign of weakness, he portrayed his decision as an acceptance of the rhythm of French life, a rhythm that everyone in the country knows well. There is no controversy, Bayrou stressed, about people taking holidays. He reminded critics that leaders, like ordinary citizens, have the right to step back during the summer. By his account, he had checked with many of them to confirm their absence. His point was simple. The political calendar must sometimes bend to the realities of national culture and not the other way around. But Bayrou's words also looked beyond the immediate debate over timing. He turned to history and to generations past. Borrowing a phrase he said was coined by the younger generation, he argued that those who enjoyed the prosperity of the post-war era should now stand beside him in the effort to reduce France's debt. They had worked hard, yes, but they had also benefited from an extraordinary economic momentum. Now, he suggested, it was their duty to ensure that today's debt burden does not fall squarely on the shoulders of the youth. It was a bold generational appeal, framing fiscal reform not merely as a financial issue, but as a moral responsibility across time. Behind Bayrou's words lies a daunting challenge. France's debt has grown to levels that economists and European partners say are unsustainable. The European Union has pressed Paris to rein in spending, warning that failure to do so could weaken not only France's economy, but also the stability of the Eurozone. Bayrou has responded with proposals that mix spending cuts, efficiency measures and fiscal restraint, policies that are unpopular with parts of the public, yet which he argues are necessary to secure the nation's long-term future. The stakes of the confidence vote are therefore immense. Should Bayrou lose, his government could collapse, setting off a wave of political uncertainty. France could face new elections, new coalitions, or even deeper fragmentation at a time when unity is badly needed. Confidence motions in France are not symbolic, they are existential. And Bayrou, a veteran of decades in politics, knows how unforgiving the system can be. Yet Bayrou has chosen to gamble on honesty. At a time when many politicians prefer easy promises and short-term popularity, he is wagering that citizens will reward candour even when the truth is difficult to hear. His rhetoric today was not filled with grand illusions, but with stark contrasts. Truth versus illusion, courage versus fear, responsibility versus denial. In doing so, he framed the coming 11 days as a battle for the very soul of France's political life. Outside the corridors of power, however, opinions remain sharply divided. Some citizens admire Bayrou's frankness, calling him a rare voice of sincerity in politics. They see his determination to address debt as proof that he is willing to tackle the problems others have long avoided. but others remain unconvinced, viewing his proposals as thinly veiled austerity that could erode social protections, weaken public services, and place heavier burdens on working families. The memory of France's recent protests over pension reform still hangs heavily over the debate, serving as a reminder of how volatile public opinion can be when reforms threaten deeply held entitlements. In the weeks leading to the confidence vote, Bayrou must walk a fine line. On one side, he must persuade lawmakers within his own fragile coalition to stand united despite internal disagreements. On the other, he must reach out to the French public, convincing them that his policies are not acts of betrayal, but acts of necessity. Time, however, is running short. 11 days is a narrow window to shift public opinion, to solidify political alliances, and to blunt the attacks of his opponents. For Bayrou, the fight is also deeply personal. His long career has seen both triumphs and setbacks, presidential runs, years spent as a centrist voice, and moments when his political relevance seemed to fade. Today, at the head of government, he once again stands before a test that could define his legacy. Will he be remembered as the Prime Minister who spoke truth when it mattered most, or as the leader who overreached and fell when the country turned away? As the countdown to the vote continues, France watches with a mix of hope and uncertainty. In Bayrou's vision, the future depends on courage, sacrifice, and generational responsibility. In the eyes of his critics, it risks becoming another chapter in the long history of broken promises and political turmoil. What is certain is this: in 11 days, the National Assembly will decide not only the fate of François Bayrou's government, but also the direction of France's political and economic path. Until then, the Prime Minister's words will echo: his appeal for truth, his defence of timing, his call for generational responsibility, resonating through a nation that must now choose between stability and change.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, bonjour. Vous êtes au...
Qu'il faut. Et je suis persuadé que ces questions, elles commencent à travailler dans l'esprit de beaucoup de nos compatriotes, en tout cas qui m'écrivent et qui me le disent, en disant pour la première fois on dit la vérité, pour la première fois on va jusqu'à prendre des risques pour relever ce défi-là, et je suis certain que tout peut bouger dans les 11 jours qui viennent, à condition qu'on s'engage, à condition qu'on n'ait peur de rien, et à condition qu'on soit prêt à mettre en jeu les avantages, les responsabilités qu'on pourrait trouver. Pendant le mois d'août, tous les Français, tout le gouvernement, sauf moi, et les organisations, les responsables d'organisations sont pour la plupart au mois d'août en vacances. Et c'est bien normal. Et j'ai donc indiqué que ce n'était pas pendant ce mois d'août que je pouvais avoir les consultations, puisque les responsables, pour la plupart, en dehors de quelques-uns sans doute, n'étaient pas là. Point. En quoi est-ce un reproche? Tous les Français savent que c'est normal et que c'est comme ça que ça se passe. D'être analysé, il n'y a aucune polémique sur le fait que tout le monde a le droit d'être en vacances, et j'imagine que tous les responsables ont pris cet été, en tout cas je l'ai vérifié pour beaucoup d'entre eux, cette disponibilité.
Vous avez entendu maladresse, monsieur le Premier ministre.
Alors c'est une expression que votre génération a inventée et que j'ai donc simplement reprise. Qu'est-ce que je dis? Je dis que ceux-là qui ont profité de l'aisance de l'après-guerre, qui ont travaillé beaucoup, mais qui ont profité de cet élan-là, ils devraient être aujourd'hui à mes côtés les premiers pour qu'on baisse la dette et pour que ce ne soit pas les plus jeunes qui soient obligés de la payer.